In 2010, Korea ranked 94th place from 163 countries, making the last of OECD countries, according to the 2010 Environmental Performance Index by Dabos Forum. The annually held Dabos Forum, with nearly 2,000 politicians, academics, journalists, and scientists around the world, is a meeting to discuss and debate on international issues. With Korea prioritizing on green issues and green policy investment, the fact that Korea ranked so low is a very big shame. From the evaluation measurement, climate change was the most with the biggest fallen rate. Within just 2 years, South Korea had fallen from ranked 77th to rank 143rd. IUCN and other international organizations on environmental issues were also very shocked. Climate change is one of the most serious environmental problems that the Korean peninsula faces. According to the UN report, the Earth's average temperature has risen 0.7 degrees Celsius, while the average temperature in the Korean peninsula has risen 1.7. It means that the temperature of the Korean peninsula is rising way faster than the Earth's average temperature. In the past 100 years, the winter in Korea decreased about 1 month, whereas the summer has increased about 2 weeks. If the climate change continues, it is said that in 2090, the average temperature will rise 4 degrees Celsius, changing the southern metropolitan area into subtropical climate. There will be no more winter, and during the summer, numerous storms and hurricanes will continue, resulting in climate disasters. This vicious circle will continue. As a result, coniferous trees will die, and the most popular species, pine trees, will no longer be seen in Korea. Not only that, there will be no more pollock, sardine, but only warm current fish such as cuttlefish, mackerel, anchovy will survive. Together, they will swim with the warm current fish species. The result is clearly a disaster. No wonder even 1 degree increase in temperature will feel abnormal. But if the Earth experiences a 4-degree rise, no wonder. The climate change is also a serious threat to the ecology. There are news about that in Canadian forest, there are still bears, and in Malaysia, the tigers are still living in the wild. It is quite scary, but on the other hand, it means that the wildlife is in good condition. In contrast, we see barely any wildlife here in Korea. No tigers, no bears, only a few wild pigs that come down to the village searching for food. It is surprising to know that even in Hong Kong there are tigers, and Korea has much bigger forest area than Hong Kong. The extinction of tigers does not mean the absence of the animal. It means disparity in the wildlife and ecology. If a species of wildlife disappears, it also means that the food chain is disrupted and the ecology is not balanced as it's supposed to be. No tiger, no bear means that our ecology and forest are in serious danger. People were ignorant about our nature for the past centuries. More bad news is the deforestation process in North Korea. Experts have been saying that the natural disaster in North Korea will severely affect the South. In this case, the two countries need to solve the common problem. But since the division 60 years ago, the two Koreas, there are no information exchange or any of the kind. This can be a serious threat to our lives. The best way to prevent a disaster is to restore the forest in North Korea. But the costs are astronomical. In 2012, Forest Research Institute predicted about $32 billion USD to recover 2.84 million hectares of forest in North Korea. The labor cost was calculated according to the standard in Kaesong Industrial Complex, which is about $144 per person. Here, the purchasing cost of land was not even considered, since all the land is state-owned. But after unification, labor cost of the North Koreans will rise maybe at least tenfold, and so will the restoration cost. To restore land, first thing to undertake is soil erosion control, which prevents the soil from pollution so that trees can be planted and grown. About 73% of the budget will be used for soil erosion control. This practice is not an option. If the erosion control is not done, then once a flood comes, everything will be washed out. This is so important for not only tree planting, but for agricultural setting as well. The soil must be able to grow and hold crops in case of small floods and excessive rain. When erosion control is settled, then other restoration costs will add to the already huge restoration cost, and that is very hard to predict. Development and maintenance of needed nurseries are predicted to cost about $500 million. This is also the problem with labor. The predicted reforestation area in North Korea is about 300 million hectares, as I told in previous episode. The period of restoration can possibly be as long as 50 years, a half a century. The reforestation capacity in South Korea is about 20,000 hectares annually right now. But if the deforestation rate in North Korea at such a high speed, then there will not be enough manpower for restoration. This is one of the reasons why North Korea reforestation calls for international aid. One of my colleagues in Seoul National University briefly estimates about $2 billion to evaluate washed away topsoils due to flooding in North Korea. The situation is getting worse even now. Our aid projects to North Korea in the past had ignored this vicious circle of deforestation and climate change. The fact that deforestation could affect climate change and also food shortage was ignored. We only focused on the results and helped the North Koreans to solve the results and the cause of the problem. In addition, humanitarian aid should have been considered regardless of political issues. But in the past, we have been considering environmental issues and political issues as one. This is a big mistake which should be reconsidered. If we look at military or political issues, there is no way we can help the North Koreans. There are only two things to keep in mind. First, the reforestation is the problem of the Korean Peninsula, meaning that the South Koreans should also be aware of and take actions against it. Because the North Koreans do not have any experience in this matter, it can be considered as the duty of the South Koreans to help them. Second, the sooner the restoration starts, the more it will reduce the unification cost of the two countries. Restoration after unification is way too late, and unification lies in the future. But what is happening now, in reality, is that the trees in North Korea are dying, and the people have no food and no energy, not the slightest thing from what they can live off. Good news is that the North Koreans themselves have wanted help from us, which makes it easier for us to approach them. This is a good chance to make the people aware of the environment, forest, and nature, and that forest can create economical benefits, even more than nuclear power stations. Turning one of the most deforested countries into green country is probably an opportunity to turn the world's most critical enemy into a friendly country to us.